Q&A, episode 6.
Here we go. Let's do it.
How much fun have you been having?
Man, I'm telling
Rated
you,
on a
these are the
scale of
best
1 to 10.
times, like 10.
Wow.
Because we get to interact.
So
man.
you
We get
can't think of
actual
anything in the
questions.
world more fun than this, is what you just
Well,
said
I
with
got
that
a few
10
things.
score.
No, I can't. But I'm just saying that it's, it feels good. It's refreshing to hear questions.
Yeah.
Because we're actually interacting with the audience,
Yeah,
man.
with people that are listening.
And people are tuning in, yeah.
You'll love these. The list of today was some great questions. And the second question I just remembered, I wish Tyler was here. Oh, it's going to be so funny. I wish he was here. You'll see in a second. That's a teaser.
Go ahead.
But before we get there, first question is from David Gonzalez. How did it feel to break the Cowboys tackle record the same game Emmett became the all-time leading rusher? I figured it was special since you two were some of the last Super Bowl holdovers.
First
of all, is that accurate? Is that
we were the two.
accurate?
Yeah, I was the last one.
No, I'm saying did y'all break the records in the same
day? So I broke the Dallas Cowboys all-time tackling record, which meant nothing.
That means nothing to you?
Well, it meant
to be the greatest tackler of all time in the Cowboys
for
history?
the Cowboys, yeah, that meant something to me, but I wasn't really thinking about it going in. So the hoopla going into that game was, the record is that Emmett was about to accomplish, which was, that is as prestigious as it gets. The all-time rushing,
which will never
record.
be broken.
And it probably will never be broken.
Because the game's different.
Absolutely. We run the ball. We used to run the ball consistently back then. Now it's a passing game. But in that situation, it was a lead up and a build up to that moment. He was surpassing Walter Payton at the time as the all-time leading rusher. And they didn't know when he was going to actually accomplish it. And they figured, but just by the numbers, they said, okay, it was going to be this Seattle game. And leading up to it, I didn't have anyone in my locker talking about me breaking the all-time, tackling record. Everyone was talking about, all the reporters are at Emmett's record about that week.
So nobody gave you any love for the tackles?
I found out on a Thursday on the all-time tackling.
Oh, so you didn't even know?
No, I found out Thursday leading up to the game.
Oh, leading up to the game.
Leading up to the game. And that's how it happened. So, look, I'm torn on that. I'm appreciative of the fact that, that was a record that was there that I ended up breaking within the Cowboys organization. Love the fact that Emmett broke the all-time leading rusher and was the all-time leading rusher. But at the same time, we lost the damn game.
Look at you.
Dude, we lost the game.
You're always the corporate.
And there was a celebration afterwards of Emmett. And, they had this stage. The Cowboys put the stage out there, and everyone was out there celebrating. And I went home, man. People were pissed. A lot of people were pissed by the fact that I didn't go up there and celebrate. But I just couldn't get – I was a poor loser, man, as you probably well know.
Well, that's why you played for 13 years right there, because you were so competitive.
But I just didn't like the fact that we were celebrating after a loss. I couldn't. Yeah. But of course, we were a 5-11 team. We would do something like that.
Wow, that's interesting. And those are two records that, man, those are both going to be hard to break because.
No, I think the all-time tackle record will be broken by a linebacker at some point.
Well, I only say that's going to be hard to break because who else is going to play? 13 years is a long time to play for one team. Yeah, but with free agency and trades, and it's just a different style.
Yes, it's different. It is a different style of play.
As far as running the business goes.
I mean, run the ball.
A defensive player to play for the same team for 13 years, that's going to be hard to do, number one. Yeah. And number two, running backs are being discarded at 26 now.
Yeah, they're throwing the ball around so much now. It's different.
You don't need a running back anymore. No. All right. Man, I wish Tyler was here for this one. Question number 2. 2-yard line. Tyler gets the ball for a fullback dive and runs straight at you. Do you stop him from scoring, or does he get in? Both of you in your prime shape.
In prime? Oh, dude, please. Next question. Who asked that question?
Alexandros Pasiridis.
Alexandros, that's blasphemous, brother. You'd ask me that question. In my prime?
Yeah.
I'm bringing it heat.
You know why I think Tyler scores? Because the first thing he said, 2-yard line.
Doesn't matter.
You're not knocking him backwards.
Look, you're
not knocking him back. He's falling forward and reaching the ball.
I want to show you. Look, do not make me bring video in here about hitting 250-pound backs.
Dude, I've seen
knocking their ass backwards.
200 how many pounds?
50-pound man. Look,
show me the video of that. Prove that.
The game is about leverage. It don't matter how big you are. It's all about leverage, right?
It matters how big you are.
If I can get up underneath your pads If I can get up underneath the pass, specifically, look, it's always hard to stop a back, and I'm talking trash, but it's always hard to stop a back that's going vertical, trying to get into the end zone because, leverage being one, and then two, you only have 2 yards to go. It's not, and it's, hey, physics are the bigger guy normally wins, right? So that's, I'm clowning
and I don't know if
I probably don't stop him getting in, but I tell you, I'm not going to hesitate. Because in those situations,
you ain't no punk.
In those situations, you have to feel. And the thing is, with a running back, he has to take the handoff, right? And if I got a shot and I know he's just taking the handoff, he's gonna be focused on that. Yeah. I'm all the way up underneath him. I'm all the way up underneath.
I don't know if you noticed, but Tyler has the biggest head and neck of any human I've ever met.
Man, Tyler,
that's like a battering ram for him. He would put that right in your esophagus.
Bro, please. Please, have you heard this? Are you listening to this?
Now, if we're at the 50-yard line and for whatever reason they're doing a goal line package, they're trying to get a first down, I could see you taking it. But the 2-yard line, he's scoring for sure.
He ain't scoring.
He's scoring.
No, he's not scoring.
No doubt
he
in
ain't
my
scoring.
mind.
No, he's not scoring. I'm not getting him in, dude. There's a reason why I got 3 rings. There's a reason why I'm sitting around with 3 rings.
Yeah.
Knocking folks backwards. Tyler's big ass.
Question 3. Enough of that. From Bill Whitfield. We're about to get deep, by the way, so let me warn you.
All right.
If your children could learn nothing else from you, what is one lesson you hope to pass along to them?
Oh, man.
Sorry, I didn't mean to just drop the
hammer.
Yeah,
we went from one to the other. Bill asked that question, right? I would say having a servant spirit. And, look, there's a lot of things I would probably pile on to that, but I would say just having a servant spirit, because it means so much as far as giving, because you receive so much more in return. I mean, when you give from your heart and not expecting anything in return, man, God has a way of just blessing you and continuing to pour good on you. And I'll give you a story. I remember it was a couple of years ago. I was at the supermarket. And I was with my wife, and we ran into a young kid that used to go to church, at my church, old church, and I used to always tithe to my old church and give the kids an opportunity to travel. So I'd give back to the church, and it was basically that fund was to set up for a number of kids to travel to Washington, D.C. and see the Capitol and go through that whole experience and whatnot. So they usually took about 27 kids to DC, and they put them in buses, and they drove up there, Greyhound buses, and they drove. They didn't fly. They got them on buses, and they drove out there. Some of the parents went and all that. Well, long story short, I'm in the supermarket, and kid walks up, and he says, "Hey, man, I want to thank you." And I said, for what? And, I'm thinking he's talking about the Cowboys. He said, "No, man, you used to, fill that fund up for me to get on that bus to go to Washington, D.C." And I was like, "Man, that's awesome." He says, "Yeah, now I'm an attorney here in Dallas." Man. And that was, to me, that was like everything, man. Because I don't know, I didn't affect all those kids, but that one kid, he said that experience allowed him to become the person that he was today.
That's better than any tackling.
That is, man.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
No, that's great. That's exactly what I would say is just I hope my kids love people.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that can break off from that, but just a genuine love for people is what I hope that they can learn. That's awesome. All right, last question. Katie Morgan asks, where/what do you see this podcast being this time next year?
Oh, man.
Or 5 years from now? So maybe the first one this time next year.
Man, Katie, that's a great question. We're blowing and going with this podcast. This is more than just us showing up and putting out content. This is what we do. And it's become the fabric of my day. So every day I'm waking up, and I'm sure, Ben, you're the same way, and Tyler's the same way. We want to just bring something. We want to bring energy to people. We want to be a light and serve so many others by just bringing on guests, telling our stories, helping others in any way we possibly can. But, we've made a full commitment And we made a financial commitment. We made a time commitment to grow this podcast. And I see us being at a total quadrupling what we've done this year as far as numbers by next year. So I think there's so much more growth that we have in store for the audience. And we have so many more great guests coming in. And we're getting better at what we do as a whole. Mm-hmm. So I know for a fact we'll double what the numbers than what we did we did this past year.
Yeah. Yeah, and we talk about it all the time. We're hoping that it's building a community of people who are wanting to improve.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so that's what I foresee is just a continued growth of people encouraging each other through this podcast. Yes, we're the ones with the microphones, and yes, we're talking to the guests, but hopefully you're hearing this, consuming it, and then you're going to your family and you're performing better for your family. You're going to your work and you're impacting those people at work.
Right.
That's what I foresee this time next year is the community of people that are involved in this is so much bigger than what it is today. Yeah. And it's already grown. But that's what excites me. Mm-hmm. There's actually a value there and an actual opportunity to impact people. Yeah. And that's what I've always said I wanted to do. I want to make a real impact on people. Mm-hmm. I don't want to just have a job where I make a bunch of money and, I just punch my clock. I want to do something that truly inspires somebody because it's like you just said, that young kid that came up to you and thanked you and said, you changed my life. Yeah. That's what we have the opportunity to do here.
And there's so many experiences that, we haven't even gotten to, man. I mean, life experiences and our guests that we have coming on with their experiences that actually apply to what people are going through. I mean, how much do I learn from even the listeners that are bringing these questions? I mean, I'm learning from them at the same time. So having that ecosystem there, and we could provide so much value as far as, fitness or health or nutrition. I mean, you're right, man.
Business,
business,
growth,
yeah. So there's so much out there, man.
And then the second part said, what about 5 years from now? That's a long way away.
Yeah, 5 years from now, I see this being more having different verticals. And we can leave it at there, but I think we're going to be able to provide more nutritional value in a hard way. Yeah. Man, I don't know. 5 years from now, I think we're going to have different verticals and different arms to what we're doing here with this show.
Yeah. No, I agree. And when I think of that far down the line, again, what we're trying to do is give resources. Right. Whatever we can do to help a person get to where they want to go. Yeah. And to your point, there's so many different avenues to serve people. The podcast is one. Health and nutrition may be another. Business advice, who knows what it turns into. I've learned actually through this podcast not to look too far down the road. Right. But the dreamer side of me definitely foresees this as anything that can help somebody improve, that's what we want to attack. Yeah. Any resource we can provide, that's what we want to attack.
Yeah. Agreed.
And that's the goal.
Yeah. Great question.
That was an awesome question. But this whole week's questions were great. Yeah. So I still think Tyler gets you.
Nope.
Your tackle record you don't really care much about.
I did not say that. I'm sitting here,
Jerry Jones, he doesn't appreciate you at all. So that's what I think.
Have a good time.
Thank you for the question. Thanks, y'all. Have a good weekend.